Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down the 7-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could take a second to please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget to leave your favorite play down below in the comments. I want to hear from you guys who you're really liking on the slate. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. First game on the slate, we have the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Miami Heat. This game right now comes in with a 204 over-under 8-point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. Expected to be a very slow-paced game in this one. There continues to be no LeBron James, no Anthony Davis. Kyle Kuzma is listed as questionable. Andre Drummond's listed as questionable. And we have Tyler Hero listed as questionable as well. As far as the injury news is concerned, we do have Kuzma more so recently updated to probable. And Andre Drummond is also listed as probable. So expect these guys to be full go as far as Tyler Hero is concerned. He's also listed as probable. They're all listed as questionable on DraftKings, but expect them all to be good to go. It's going to be a slow-paced game, and both these teams are pretty healthy, especially Miami. I mean, the Los Angeles Lakers side, they're still relying very heavily on guys like Kyle Kuzma, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, and Andre Drummond. So those 3 to 4 guys, I have no issues with be playing in tournaments based upon their workload and how much they're going to be relying on to win games. The only problem is this pace is going to be so slow. You're going to have a very hard time getting back a return on players in this game, because, quite frankly, it's just going to be played so slow. I mean, it's going to be hard to really be playing these guys in tournaments and expecting to really get your return. So, overall, not really all too interested in this first one, especially Miami. I mean, they now have Victor Oladipo. They already had such a loaded rotation as is. I'm not really looking to pay up for a Bam Adebayo or Jimmy Butler in such a slow environment where there's so many bodies and the usage is going to be spread so thin. Second game on the slate, Chicago taking on Toronto. This game right now comes in with a 221 over-under with a 4-point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls. So expected to stay close. As far as the latest injury update, there is no Fred VanVleet. There is no Kyle Lowry. We've continued to see some pretty good production out of Flynn. With these guys being out, he is now priced up to 4.7. But recently has put up 33, 43, and 33 DraftKings points. So 4.7, you could argue, still isn't good enough. And Chicago does not scare me defensively as far as guards are concerned. So Flynn is going to continue to be a good value play. We have Gary Trent Jr. and Ogiana Newby and Pascal Siakam as well. These 3 guys continue to see a lot of usage in the current situation. And once again, not afraid of the Chicago defense. So I do think that these 3 guys are great plays. Specifically, Pascal Siakam priced up at 8.5. I think he's going to take on a lot of responsibility. Put up 58, 37, and 44 DraftKings points the last 3 times out. I think he's going to have 50-plus fantasy point upside every time he takes the 4, and he is only 8.5. Nikola Vucevic at 9.1 continues to kind of settle in Chicago. Put up 50 and 63 DraftKings points the last 2 times out, putting up some big performances, and Toronto really hurting as far as on the glass. I don't really think I'm all too worried about someone slowing him down too much. They have Chris Boucher. Aaron Baines is a pretty good defender, but overall, I do think that Nikola Vucevic can have a good day here as well. And that's who I would be looking to in this one. Cleveland taking on Oklahoma City. One thing I should mention in that last game before we really move along is Zach LaVine is questionable. If he's out, you're going to be looking to a lot more in Thomas Adoransky and Lauri Markkanen. I mean, he is lately updated to probable. Lauri Markkanen and Kobe White also upgraded to probable, so expected to be kind of a loaded rotation back in Chicago as well. So I tend to just lean on the most heavily usage guys, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. So I didn't want to leave Zach LaVine out at 8K, but I do think that Vucevic is affecting his usage a bit. So limit your expectations, but he is a lot cheaper, so no issues with playing him in tournaments. Cleveland taking on Oklahoma City. This one's going to be an ugly one as far as the total is concerned. This game right now comes in with a 214 over-under, 3.5-point spread in favor of Cleveland. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander continues to be out. There's no Al Horford. Pokusevski's questionable. Bazley's questionable. Roby's questionable. Dort's questionable. The whole team's questionable. Late season NBA. This is the fun stuff. And you don't really know. So based upon whether those guys are in or out, keep an eye on this Oklahoma City rotation. If they're all going to be out, a guy like Svi Mikhailuk becomes a much better play. And then, of course, based upon who's in and out, it's going to fluctuate who we're looking to. Kenrich Williams at 5'2" could become a better play. You got Tony Bradley. Down here at 4.2, Ty Jerome. These guys have no issues playing them. And then recently, we have seen Horde be in the rotation. Jalen Horde playing 22 and 24 minutes the last 3 times out. So, but This game's going to be really spread out minutes-wise and really ugly rotation and just pace-wise, in my opinion. Both teams that aren't really playing for anything. And it's kind of tough to be going here. I'd rather be going to a game that's more competitive where we know the minutes are going to be there. Kevin Love at 5'8" for Cleveland, I do think is an intriguing value option. He continues to only play about mid-20 minutes, but I think we could see him maybe ramp up to like upper 20 minutes, and only 5'8", he could definitely blow away that price tag, so no issues to be playing him. So kind of an ugly one there. Darius Garland at 6'5", Moses Brown at 6'6", both viable options as well. But overall, it's just not going to be the fastest-paced game. I'd rather be going to a game like the next one that we're going to discuss in the Milwaukee-Dallas game. This game comes in right now with a 228 over-under with a 1-point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. Expected to be, fairly decent pace for this slate. Second highest total on the slate, and expected to be a close one. And we know we have some guys in these rotations that can really put up some fantasy points in a quick amount of time. Giannis Antetokounmpo is listed as doubtful, expecting him to be out, which is going to make us really like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, Bobby Portis, all of the above. This Dallas side does not scare us defensively, and with there being no Giannis, the game is expected to stay closer than it typically would, I'm guessing. And I'm going to have interest in all of these guys for sure. So these guys in the rotation, and then run it back with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis on the Dallas side, they're going to be the two top dogs as far as who we're looking to there. And definitely going to have some interest in Luka Doncic when this game stays close. The guy's a very good fantasy point producer. He can have a big game. And more specifically, Bobby Portis, I had mentioned 5'3", with there being no Giannis. This is a guy, when he gets the minutes, can put up a big score in a hurry. Got 28 minutes last time out, put up 33 DraftKings points. If he continues to see like 28 to 30 minutes, the guy can put up 50 real quick if he is indeed really on a roll. So definitely do like Bobby Portis a lot. Phoenix taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. This game right now comes in with a 222.5 over-under, 5-point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Clippers. Not the fastest-paced game in the world, but it is expected to stay close. That's half the battle when it comes to competitive teams. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, the big four in this game. I'm going to have interest in playing all of these guys. I think when it's a game where they are, quote-unquote title contenders, we're going to see these guys have bigger games, especially later in the season before the playoffs. They're wanting to prove that they can really hang with each other. So surprisingly, even though these teams are better defensively, I'm going to have a lot more interest in these guys than you would think. Based upon the competitive nature of the game, I do think they could have a big upside game. So Chris Paul at 8'3", Paul George at 8'2", Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, really like them. DeAndre Ayton at 6'7", I have no issues with going to as well. Continues to play mid-30s to 40 minutes a game. If that's the case at 6'7", I think he's a little underpriced. And then on the other side, we've seen a lot of Ivica Zubac at 5'2", continuing to play mid-20s to 30 minutes or so same rule applies to him. And yeah, just going to have a lot of interest in the studs and the payoff options in this game, to be honest with you. I think you could really take advantage of the game environment and the fact that they're going to be going back and forth, really trying to prove to each other that they're the real deal, specifically Phoenix. The Clippers have been given respect for a while, but Phoenix, having a good year this year, they want to show that they are the real deal. Portland taking on Utah. This game right now comes in with a 230.5 over-under top spread on the slate, or not spread, top over-under on the slate. Expected to be fast-paced, a 6-point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. Expected to stay close. Norman Powell listed as questionable. Yusuf Nurkic listed as questionable, so keep an eye on that one. Norman Powell's latest update is probable, and as far as Nurkic is concerned, he is listed as a true questionable, so keep an eye on that one. That's going to impact Enes Kanter directly the most. 6'1" without being Nurkic. We've seen him put up 43 and 37 DraftKings points, so going to continue to want to play him if there is no Nurkic. Rudy Gobert specifically, I think, is going to be a great matchup in this one. If it is Enes Kanter down low, I don't think he's going to be able to hang with Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert could have a very big game in this one tonight, so I'm definitely going to like him. CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard, the top two dogs. This is going to be very similar to the game we just discussed, where these top payoff options I'm going to have a lot of interest in because they're going to have a lot of responsibility in a game where they're two competitive teams before the playoffs. They want to show that they can play with each other. So I'm going to like these guys a lot more, even though it might be a better defensive matchup or a worse defensive matchup, for these guys. They're going to want to put up big games. Donovan Mitchell, same thing. Mike Conley. Have a lot of interest in these on-ball heavy guards for sure. Damian Lillard, Mike Conley, CJ McCollum, all of the above. And then, of course, these guys on here that get big minutes. Robert Covington, Norman Powell, Jordan Clarkson. I have no issues with them either in this game environment. Really going to be liking getting some good exposure to these late games for sure. Last game on the slate, Detroit taking on Sacramento. This game right now comes in with a 227 over-under, 6.5 point spread in favor of the Sacramento Kings. And both of these teams I have mentioned are going to be pretty loaded up in their rotation. There is no Jeremiah Grant for Detroit, so I do think that could help their rotation a little bit just because it's going to free up some more minutes. Look for Sekou Doumbouya and Tyler Cook to get some more minutes in the rotation. As far as their actual upside, I mean, Tyler Cook all the way down here at 3K. Seen 24 and 12 minutes, only put up like 13 DraftKings points. And then Sekou Doumbouya, I mean, the way that they're treating these rotations, I don't really think these guys are going to get a lot of minutes. The Detroit side is just so spread thin, it's hard to really rely on them. I would specifically be going to Isaiah Stewart at 4-1 if possible, but the problem is he's still being capped out like mid-20 minutes. You got Diallo, Plumlee. If I'm picking my favorite options on the Detroit side, based upon the fact that there is no Grant, I would think Diallo, Josh Jackson specifically are going to really ramp up in usage as well as Sadiq Bey. But you're looking at their minutes, like they're just not playing minutes. They're just spreading the minutes thin throughout the whole rotation, and that's scary to me. But these are the guys I'd be looking to. They're in the best possible match we could really have taking on the Sacramento squad. And the Sacramento squad has a great matchup as well. These guys priced in the mid-6K range. Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, Halliburton all have plenty of upside at their respective price tags. And DeLon Wright, we do have a little bit of a revenge game for him, I suppose, at 4-5 down here for Sacramento. Only playing only 20 minutes a game. Maybe he gets a few more minutes than he typically would against his former team. Coaches do like to do that. Excuse me. Coaches do like to do that sometimes, so wouldn't surprise me. And then you got Sean Holmes, De'Aaron Fox's pay-up options. No issues with going to either of these guys. But they're going to have to perform at their respective price tags. And the guys that are a little cheaper might be better options strictly based upon the fact that they could have a little bit less big games and really get you there at their price tags. So with all that being said, I got to give you guys my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Chris Paul taking on his former team in the Los Angeles Clippers. We got a little bit of a revenge narrative here, and like I said, I think Phoenix wanting to show that they are competitors. I think Chris Paul is going to go into this game with a little more motive than he typically would, taking on the former squad, taking on the new dynamic duo of Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I think that he might take this a little bit personal. Really want to ramp it up and have a good game here. So for all these reasons, I mentioned, they're going to really want to run out there, show that Phoenix are really good competitors. And Chris Paul runs the show at the point guard position. He's going to give you the assists. He's a pretty good rebounder for a guard as well, and he will get you the scoring. Really like Chris Paul in this particular game environment, and he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Chris Paul, get him in your lineups, and that is all for me on this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. And then don't forget to check out the KJK DFS NBA package link below in the description. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.